Hey everyone, how's it going? For today's video, let's take an up-close and personal, in-depth look at the recently refreshed 2015 Toyota Camry. This is going to be a complete, in-depth review of the Camry with a focus on the dynamic new XSE. We'll cover the ins and outs, including improvements, trim comparisons, available equipment, safety, and much more. Not to mention take a test drive of the new XSE V6 and SE Hybrid to see how they perform in day-to-day driving, all while highlighting the many unique aspects of both the interior as well as exterior. And so, without further ado, let's go ahead and start her up, let her run. Standard equipment on all Camry models is a smart key access system so you can wirelessly lock and unlock the vehicle via the touch sensors located on the door. To lock, tap the red portion, it'll beep once, then after waiting a second, go ahead and grab the handle and the vehicle will beep twice letting you know it's unlocked. The exterior of this Camry is finished in the stunning ruby flare pearl, finished with the XSE specific combination of premium black leather and ultra suede Alcantara trim across the seats and the doors. The seats are a sport design that offer more lateral support, with plenty of high contrast red stitching found throughout. Along with the smart key system, push-button ignition is also standard. With the remote fob within the interior, just put your foot on the brake and tap the button to begin. Steering is provided by an electric assist rack and pinion power steering system with an overall ratio of 14.8 to 1, 2.85 turns to lock, and a 36.7 foot turning radius. Like you would expect, the Camry is a very easy car to drive. The steering feels nicely weighted in the XSE, but still doesn't provide a ton of road feedback or deliver much information from the front wheels. Considering the car's intended target, it does its job quite well, offering a smooth, consistent motion and even feeling pretty lively in the corners. The stiffer chassis and retuned suspension do noticeably alter the driving profile, making this the best driving Camry I've driven to date. It's relatively fun for what it is, but it's comfortable at the same time. It doesn't demand a whole lot from the driver, but allows you to enjoy a bit of spirited driving on demand. Many manufacturers can claim a car has sporty characteristics, but Toyota has nailed it on the head with the XSE with a complete sport package. With the suspension upgrades, the car floats less and the ride feels more predictable. It's still somewhat soft as to be forgiving on rough roads, but drivers looking for that extra dose of agility will gladly take a little firm over float. Like before, there are two transmissions available depending on the powertrain. 4-cylinder and V6 cars receive 6-speed electronically controlled automatics, with the SE and XSE gaining manual shiftability via steering wheel mounted paddle shifters, in addition to the selector below. When shifted into S mode, gear changes are held longer in automatic and are executed quicker, especially when using the paddle shifters accompanied by rev matching downshifts. Yes, the Camry does legitimately have rev matching. Listen closely, you can hear it next. I wish a bit more engine sound was able to come into the cabin so you can hear it better, but it seems trivial as the 2015 Camry is quieter and more aerodynamic than ever with a coefficient of drag of just 0.28. Hybrids receive a continuously variable automatic for better overall economy. The 6-speed performs well for an automatic, gear changes aren't lightning quick in manual mode, but it's still quite fun, especially when rev matching. In normal driving, it's smooth and silky. I was surprised by the hybrid as the CVT drives comparably to the 6-speed as far as its smoothness and power delivery. You still have the characteristic drone under harder acceleration, but it's so much quieter than I initially expected, and likely the quietest CVT I've tried to date. Performance and acceleration was good, and will likely be quite adequate for customers, especially on the open road, where you have better acceleration for passing and the like than the base 4-cylinder. For the last 12 years, the Toyota Camry has represented the best-selling car in America. In fact, with over 10.2 million units sold since 1983, it's estimated around 6.6 million of those cars are still on the road. On paper, the Camry just makes sense. It's practical, fuel-efficient, and reliable, which makes it a prime choice in the mid-size segment. The only thing lacking was dynamism and an exciting, fresh look that displays emotion. While it may sound odd when associating emotion to a mid-size family sedan, that's exactly what Toyota set out to do. In giving the Camry a thorough top-to-bottom refresh just 3 years after the 7th generation debuted, they not only gave it a more youthful look, but a host of new gadgets, sporty offerings, and a level of near Lexus-grade premium quality. Toyota claims that nearly 2,000 parts have been redone in some way, shape, or form. All the exterior panels are new aside from the roof, with 22 additional spot welds in the cowl and door structures that lead to a significant increase in torsional rigidity. The new car is also quieter thanks to a 30% increase in floor sound deadening, redesigned side view mirrors, and seals within the doors and windows. Even though the latest Camry has seen great success in the past few years, selling around 408,000 cars in 2013, I truly believe the 2015 model supersedes it in pretty much every aspect. For starters, the new body's dynamic styling expresses a heightened level of sport and athleticism with the SE and new XSE trims. Not to mention a sense of refinement and luxury. It's hard to imagine that this is in fact still a Camry. Interior quality, fit and finish also take a tremendous leap forward, but we'll talk about that more in just a bit. The body is 1.8 inches longer with 0.4 inch wider track that works to enhance its overall presence. A single body line that begins at the flared front fenders sweeps across the doors and ends above the tail lamps to give the car a sense of motion. Subtle hood creases and scallops across the sides of the body add new definition. Up front, the fascia is a bit more aggressive than before, even more so in the sport variants, while looking far more sculpted. Smooth flowing lines cradle the grille, which almost looks like an adaptation of the new generation Lexus spindle grille. The headlamps are slimmer with available LED lighting with V6 models, LED daytime running lamps, a black upper grille, and divided by a slender piece of chrome up top. The rear definitely looks a bit more like a Lexus ES than last year's Camry, which is probably a good thing for some, as the sharp angles of the tail lamps and profile could have been a bit polarizing. Now, like the front, everything has also been smoothed over, with wraparound tail lamps, a slender piece of deck lid chrome, and an optional spoiler. Like before, the Camry is available in a variety of trim levels, but has undergone some changes for 2015, such as dropping the base L. It's also been expanded to include the LE, SE, new XSE, and XLE, not to mention hybrid variants including a sportier SE hybrid that gains special suspension revisions, firmer tuning, and less stability control innervation. Both the Camry SE and XSE receive a number of changes to the exterior to create the most aggressive-looking Camry ever. Especially compared to last year's offering, the 2015 updates look more integrated than added on. For starters, they're distinguished by a unique front fascia, replacing the standard 5-bar grille with piano black mesh. The headlamps, which are a clear design typically, are finished with a dark chrome housing. Dark chrome also replaces the brighter center portion of the upper grille in the XSE. While the SE receives its own unique set of 17-inch alloy wheels, the XSE benefits from the largest and widest wheel and tire package seen to date. Underneath, both cars receive trim-specific suspension tuning, with the XSE being the liveliest of the two, featuring higher rate springs, special shock absorbers with internal rebound springs, firmer bushings, and firmer tuning to the electric power steering. It's also important to note that the XSE is a bit fancier than the SE, with higher quality premium materials used throughout. It's more comparable to the XLE, which at a base price of $26,150 is identical to the XSE's starting price. Therefore, you can either go for luxury or sport without sacrificing convenience or quality or having to spend more for one or the other. Both are available with a V6 or the standard 4-cylinder, unlike the LE and SE, which are 4-cylinder only. The Camry XSE V6 features unique 18 by 7.5 inch painted and machined alloys wrapped in 225/45 Michelin all-season tires. It also now features a 2-stage brake booster to deliver more consistent and smooth pedal feel. Stopping power is provided by 11.65-inch ventilated discs in front and solid 11-inch discs in the rear. With this setup, the Camry is able to stop from 60 miles an hour in around 120 feet. As far as the suspension, it's fully independent and consists of McPherson struts in front and a dual-link rear with front and rear stabilizer bars. Overall length is 190.9 inches with a width of 71.7 inches and a height of 57.9 inches, riding on a 109.3 inch wheelbase. Total curb weight for the XSE is around 3,480 pounds. Like before, there are 3 available engine choices. Standard is an all-aluminum 2.5-liter 4-cylinder with double overhead cams, 4 valves per cylinder, and dual variable valve timing. It produces 178 horsepower at 6,000 RPM and 170 pound-feet of torque at 4,100 RPM, yielding a claimed 0 to 60 time around 8.4 seconds. While running on regular 87-octane fuel and a capacity of 17 gallons, the Camry is rated between 25 miles to a gallon in the city and 35 on the highway. With the more powerful all-aluminum 3.5-liter V6, you gain 90 extra horsepower for a total of 268 at 6,200 RPM and a big jump in torque to 248 pound-feet at 4,700 RPM, not to mention an improved 0 to 60 time around 6.5 seconds. Like the 4-cylinder, it also employs double overhead cams, 4 valves per cylinder, and dual variable valve timing. While both engines are ultra-low emissions vehicle certified, as expected the V6 is slightly down on mileage, achieving a range of 21 miles to a gallon in the city and 31 on the highway, a fair trade-off for better performance. The hybrid combines the 4-cylinder, a permanent magnet AC synchronous motor, and a 204-cell nickel-metal hydride battery pack. Separately, the electric motor produces 105 kilowatts of energy at 4,500 RPM and 199 pound-feet of torque, available instantly between 0 and 1,500 RPM for peppy acceleration. The gas engine has both 156 horsepower and 156 pound-feet of torque. Combined, the system nets 200 horsepower and a 0 to 60 time of 7.6 seconds, which bridges the gap between the V6 and the 4-cylinder. Most importantly, though, is the mileage, which is rated between 40 miles to a gallon in the city and 38 on the highway for the SE and XLE. The LE is actually even better at 43 city and 39 on the highway. Inside, the Camry sees a tremendous amount of improvements in quality, technology, and refinement, especially compared to last year. There's still a few bits of harder material splashed throughout, but for the most part, touch points, panels, and components are finished in premium soft materials and available color accent stitching. The XSE and XLE represent the highest levels of sport and luxury respectively. The main difference between them is the XLE features full premium leather trimmed in piping and wood trim, versus the leather Alcantara combination and red double stitching. The seats are comfortable, supportive, and offer much more support overall. Sport models also receive unique gauges. Within the cluster, all Camrys aside from the base LE receive a 4.2-inch TFT display that contains the driver information system, navigation data, warning messages, and more. As far as safety, the Camry is available with a host of new age tech including blind spot monitoring, lane departure warning, automatic brake assist, rear cross traffic alert, pre-collision alert, automatic high beams, and adaptive cruise control. There are 10 airbags throughout, including front and rear seat-mounted airbags, side curtains, and knee airbags for both front occupants. These seats shown here feature full power adjustments for both the driver and passenger with extra adjustable lumbar on the driver's seat, adjustable headrests, adjustable seatbelts, and a manual tilt telescoping steering wheel. Not to mention blue illuminated aluminum door sill entry guards. The SE is a notable step up from the base LE, but doesn't utilize some of the premium materials found in the more expensive XSE, namely across the seats and doors, but offers buyers a sporty look with a nice list of standard and available comfort features. And last but not least, for hybrid buyers, the instrument cluster is also unique with a power meter located to the left instead of the traditional tachometer. includes their in-tune mobile media system as standard equipment with either 6.1-inch or 7-inch touch displays. With this, you also get Bluetooth phone and streaming, USB and external media integration, available HD and satellite radio with iTunes tagging, not to mention a subscription-free app suite. With the app suite, it includes things like Bing, iHeartRadio, MovieTickets.com, OpenTable, and Pandora, not to mention available features such as fuel price guides, sports, stocks, traffic, and weather updates. The standard audio system is a 6-speaker setup, but available is a premium 10-speaker 586-watt JBL surround sound system that packs a significant punch over the entry system, and not to mention a superior level of overall sound quality. The speakers are designed utilizing JBL's Green Edge technology, which includes efficient packaging and energy efficiency with increased power. Standard in upper trim levels is a dual-zone electronic automatic climate control with front and rear defrost and heated exterior mirrors. Underneath the little console flap there is a QI wireless charging station on V6 models for compatible smartphones, not to mention a 12-volt power outlet, USB, and iPod integration. While there's many touches of subtle chrome brightwork found throughout, there's also a plentiful amount of satin brightwork, namely across the center console, that gives it a little bit more of a premium yet modern look. A good amount of storage space within the center console, and also houses an extra power outlet. There's also heated seats available. The in-tune system actually has the ability to learn your voice so as to easier recognize the commands.
So trained voice recognition is a new feature we have that allows you the system, it gives you 10 phrases, and the system will take into account how you pronounce certain words, and it'll improve the accuracy, customizable to your voice. So you press trained voice recognition, and you'll see here it's going to give me 10 phrases. And it's going to go over a wide area from like phone to audio to navigation.
Please say the following. Reserve a table at 8 p.m. for 4 people at Horseback Steakhouse.
Reserve a table at 8 p.m. for 4 people at Horseback Steakhouse.
Say, would you like to go to lunch tomorrow for your birthday?
Would you like to go to lunch tomorrow for your birthday?
Another cool thing, if you go to the vehicle setup and then the voice commands, it also has video displays so you can learn how to use all of the material.
And you can go through and it's going to give you a little video with audio.
Using your Toyota conversational speech recognition system is a simple and user-friendly experience. Just press the push to talk button on your steering wheel and say a command in a way that is natural to you.
With an identical roofline and wheelbase as last year's model, interior space including rear seat occupant room hasn't really changed for the 2015 Camry. It still offers a nice amount of space back there, perfect enough for a traveling vehicle. And with a relatively formal roofline, taller individuals aren't likely to have to duck too much to get into the back. You can sit 3 people in the back, there's a fold-down armrest, while the seats can be folded for extra cargo space. The way it works really depends on your powertrain. 4-cylinder and V6 cars have a more traditional 60-40 split, with some hard plastic backing that provide a nice protection for the back of the seats and open up the cargo space all the way to the front. For the hybrid, a 50-50 split allows for a small cubby hole that's largely dominated by the battery. There's a pretty good amount of cargo space out back. In total, it's around 15.4 cubic feet, with some broad shoulders that allow for extra storage space to either side and a carpet-lined trunk mat. For the hybrid counterparts though, because you have the battery pack out back, cargo space does drop just a little bit. With a thorough refresh inside and out, paying key attention to driving characteristics, the 2015 Camry is the most dynamic Camry to date. Fully modernized with gorgeous body lines and colors, not to mention attractive and sporty interiors and a great tech list. It's no doubt in my mind that this could be the Camry's best-selling year yet. Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed the in-depth look at the refreshed 2015 Toyota Camry XSE. Be sure to stay tuned next time, there's a lot more where that came from. Take care everybody.